Hello, Carrots here. Welcome to episode 80 of the Isla Paradiso bunch. Craig and Judy are still our travellers, and they have now completed all of the requirements of all of the adventures in all of the world adventure worlds. And they're now having a little celebration since they completed the tomb of Jean Nectar. After all, he was the inventor of nectar, so they thought they'd try as much nectar as possible. Craig's trying a nectar that includes plasma fruit. I don't think he liked it very much. Nobody else tasted it either. He didn't go back for more. But there was plenty of nectar that they could taste in the nectar racks, so they just kept getting more and more until the table was loaded with nectar. And other Sims came along and helped them drink it, so it didn't all go to waste. I like how each different variety of nectar's got a different colour. Now Judy was just drinking her second glass of that pretty pinkish purple nectar when she noticed that the wall panel at the end of the room looked a little bit different from the other panels. Now Judy and Craig had just been working hard to get through a couple of very big complicated tombs under the Nectary, and that panel definitely looked suspicious. So she had a little think, and then she just decided her curiosity was just too much for her. So she went over and she had a closer look at that wall panel, and she discovered it was a hidden door. Wow. She thought they were all done, but here's another one in an unexpected spot. Of course, she had to open it. At least she had to try. She needed to have a look to see what was behind it. As the door began to swing open, Judy realised it had a wooden texture to it, so it couldn't be part of one of the tombs, because they all had Egyptian decorations on the doors as they swung open. And when it finally was fully open, she walked inside and discovered it was a hidden nectar store. And there were a few piles of ancient coins lying around, which she picked up. I don't think they'll help much though, because you can only use the ancient coins when they are in one of the world adventure worlds, and she can't do anything with them back at home in Dragon Valley. So Judy quickly got her through there. She found another hidden door inside, and she opened that as well, and there was just more nectar in there, and then that was it. So there was nothing left. There was nothing left for them to do in France. They'd done it all over the years, because they'd been coming here to France for such a long time, and this is their final visit. And Craig had mentioned very quietly in Judy's ear earlier on that when he'd lost that fight with that mummy, he'd been cursed. So they were going to have to take a detour to Egypt so he could go to the Sphinx and get himself cured by the Sphinx. Otherwise he could die. There were other ways he could be cured, but he thought that doing it with the Sphinx might be the one that suits him best. Like otherwise he'd have to kiss a cobra or do some other complicated things. He does know how to kiss a cobra. He's done that before, but he just wanted to go see the Sphinx one last time. Now, they had already cleaned up that table, but they got back into the nectar. But it was time to go, so Judy put the nectar down and let's leave. We have to hurry up if we're going to get you home to Dragon Valley in this episode. You've got to go to Egypt now. But she just had to stay and finish her one glass of nectar. But then we're going to be getting out of here and travelling to Egypt. It was time to go. They couldn't put it off any longer. They ran out of the Nectary, and when they were out of the building, Craig called travel agent and they began their journey to Egypt so Craig could be cured by the Sphinx. He's got 14 days left before he's likely to die. We don't want to lose Craig. And now they're on their aircraft and they're travelling to Egypt. And here they are, they've arrived at the base camp in Egypt. And Craig needs to get the adventure to get a cure. And he goes to the adventure board and he gets the cursed adventure. For those cursed by a mummy, hope is not lost. I, Inji Amin, know of a cure. If you would cure yourself of this vile befoulment, come before me. Please bring a trinket of some kind, that I might know your interest in the matter. A relic worth at least 150 simoleons would be fine. Craig's delighted to discover that there is hope after all, so he heads off quickly to see Inji Amin about the cure from the mummy's curse. When he finally reaches her house, he's relieved to see that she is at home, and he lets her know what he's there for, gives her his relic, and she tells him, seeking the cure, "Your tribute is accepted and appreciated. Now, we must go about curing you, though I'm not sure you are ready for the journey. But that is not for me to decide, but the Sphinx. Yes, you must travel to the Sphinx and beg it to aid you. If you are found worthy, it will open a path that will lead to your salvation. Go, beg the Sphinx for mercy and enter the path it opens for you, and let me know what happens. Objective: go to the Sphinx and plead before it, then enter the depths of the Sphinx's lair to find the cure for the mummy's curse. Finally, Craig realises he might be actually able to do this. There's strange horses running around everywhere as well. So Craig just sets off on his trusty scooter and heads for the Sphinx. There's the Sphinx off in the distance. It takes him a while to get there, but he does eventually arrive at the Sphinx. There it is. Now, to start with, he just needs to plead to the Sphinx. He doesn't want to go inside just yet. The door is shut. Now, as you know, I have had to do these final 2 French tombs on a fresh save. So, although Craig has been cured once before, and the previous cure was at night, and the sky went red for that one. And if you want to see that, it's in episode 50 at the 26-minute mark. Now here he is pleading to the Sphinx. This is daylight. The sky's going to be a different colour in daylight to what it was before, but this is a fresh version. And I've also realised I haven't yet taken you through the Sphinx as they do the whole thing. And there is a part of the tomb collection in the Sphinx that they need to collect. So I hadn't planned to show you. There's the sky changing. I'm going to actually show you Craig going through the Sphinx, and I'll have Judy with him to help him. It'll get them through a bit faster. So the Sphinx opens the door that was previously closed. You can see the really bright light where the door is. And when it all settles down, Craig runs inside to see what he can see. And he's greeted by the sight of a lot of fire. So he's going to have to work hard to get into this tomb. Now, you've got to be careful when you first go in, because there's a fire trap that's right in front of him that just suddenly appears when you get close to it. So if you tell them to run straight to that floor switch to stand on it, they're going to get caught in that fire trap. So make sure you've got some shower in a can. The next thing, they've got to swim across one of these pools. And quite often it takes a lot of encouragement to get them to jump into the pool. But eventually he will go in there. He has to go in there, otherwise we won't be able to do the tomb. That's where he's got to go to. It's the same on both sides. I usually get him to do the swimming across on the left-hand side. Now push that statue across and put out some of those flames, Craig. He's still got 14 days to get cured, so there isn't any major rush about it. He's just got to get cured. We've come here straight after he finished the tomb, and he got cursed right at the very end of the tomb of Jean Nectar in France. All he's got to do here is get those 4 statues that were in that straight line there and move them around so that first of all he's got all the flames put out. Secondly, he's got to put 2 of them back so that they're covering those 2 floor switches. And thirdly, the other 2 at the far end have got to be pulled in so that he can walk in behind them. Pushing those statues onto those floor switches will reveal 2 holes in the floor, and you need them to be able to get any further in this tomb. So that's the first one. It's the critical one, actually. And then we'll cut to the next one, which that hole in the floor will only give you a treasure. The remaining 2 statues are blocking his path into and out of the tomb. I got him to move the one on the bottom side of the screen first, and then later discovered that when he exits the tomb, when you tell him to report in, he tries to go out the other side. So you need to move the other statue as well. Heaps out of this because I want us to get to Dragon Valley and see the whole household, and I don't want the video to go for hours. So he's now digging into that hole in the floor, and it opens up a set of steps, and that's his way into the tomb. We'll get Judy to come in to collect all the other bits and pieces. Craig's just taken something out of the other hole in the floor. Then he'll go down the steps and start making his way through the tomb. There's only a couple of things in this room. When he crosses to the other side though, he will set off an electric trap. This is scary but very easily avoided. He just walks around it. There's a hidden door there that he needs to open, and there is a lot of treasure in this room. So it's If you're after treasure, don't miss this one. If you're just trying to get cured, not interested in treasure, well, then you can pass this one by, because you're only going to get a heap of treasure out of it. Once he's unlocked the door, he's got to force it open. It's not one of those doors that will open by itself. We'll get Judy to come up here and collect all of the gems and ancient coins that are lying around, and Craig will move some of those pushable statues to get at that treasure chest, because it's got about half a dozen valuable cut emeralds in it, and we don't want to go without them. Craig just clears the space of the pushable statue so he can get in there and get to that treasure chest. Just pull the statue back one square, and now he can get into that chest and get the emeralds out of it. So you can see what's in there. He's taken them. Now, the last thing to get is this cobra. It's part of the Egyptian gold figurines collection. Valuable. It'll be a couple of thousand simoleons. Craig will grab that because he's just got to walk straight past it anyway. He might as well pick it up as he goes by, and then he can head into a scary room. He's got to go back out that hidden door that he opened and into the other door just across the other side of that room, and it will lead him into a hallway. At the other end of the hallway is a locked door, and beside the door is a message on the wall. When Craig reads the message, the door will unlock and he can go through it. The message tells him to avoid the dark places and stick to the violet colour. Looking down from above, we can see where he's been on the left hand side, and on the right is the new room with 4 dive wells. 3 of the dive wells are a dark grey, and the 4th dive well is pinkish purplish sort of a colour. So Craig's read the message on the wall and he's jumped into the purple one, and he swims down and he finds a switch that opens up another hidden door that he will go straight through. Now I'm going to get Judy to come into this room. Normally I don't have any problems in here with my sim. I get them to go into those 3 dark wells. Usually there's lots of treasure in them, and then they go through these sarcophagi and find more treasure, but we're not going to have that success this time, unfortunately. Craig just wanders down the new hallway he's just found and picks up some ancient coins. There's a door down the end of the hallway that he can go through, and he comes into another room which has got some piles of ancient coins lying around, and there's a hidden door that he opens. After he's picked up some of the piles of ancient coins, he comes back and gets more later. When the door finally opens, it lets him into a bathroom. As usual, I get him to use the toilet, but this time the toilet doesn't do anything, so it was a bit of a waste of time. However, he did find another hidden door in there, which he opened, and it turned out to be a very important hidden door, and there was a star-shaped keystone on a pedestal there. I think he ended up getting more star-shaped keystones than he needed in this tomb, so I'm hoping I didn't miss something that needed keystone. It's a happy accident that I decided to get him to be cured from the mummy in this episode, because when I went back to look to see where I took you all through the tomb originally, I found that I hadn't recorded that part and there was nothing on any of the previous episodes. We'd never actually done the Sphinx. He'd been in here before and got cured once before, but in that version, the Sphinx had already been completed and emptied out. There was nothing to find in it. And the only reason we can do this now is because I started up a fresh game for them to do the 2 big tombs under the Nectary in France. Now that I've done this, I do remember thinking I've got to go back and do the Sphinx, because I had originally just sent a sim in and run straight through it without me recording anything, but I forgot to go back and redo the Sphinx. So that is why it hasn't been done and why we can do it now. He's just picked up the Egyptian sigil of the Soul Peace Chambers, which is part of the tomb collection that we were originally planning to get, and they've already got that at home in Isla Paradiso, and now it's gone to Dragon Valley. So he didn't need to find it, but I hadn't shown you him finding it previously. So that's where it comes from. And there's another rubble pile there that he's going to clear with Pangu's axe, and he'll pick up a star keystone from that pedestal as well. Now I've got something I want Judy to do next, and it's about time Craig had a bit of a rest. So he's going to sleep in this bed while Judy goes back to the room with all of those dark dive wells, and she's going to dive into those dive wells and see what she can find. I usually have no problems. My sim goes through there and does it all without an issue, but unfortunately Judy didn't have quite that much good luck this time. This tomb is not a part of any official adventure unless the sim gets cursed by the mummy. You still need to come in here to get that part of the tomb collection if that's what you're trying to achieve. Judy didn't get anything out of that dive well. She just pulled a switch, which I suppose is what alerted the mummy. It came out of the sarcophagus. The mummies usually do come out, but it's not difficult to avoid them. So what I've got to get her to do now is to go and look in that sarcophagus to see if she can find anything that's good to have, any treasures. That mummy's been wandering all over the room, but Judy managed to just turn and walk straight past it. There wasn't a problem. So now she's gone to check out that sarcophagus. She wasn't finding any treasure, and then the sarcophagus grabbed her, and then it spat her out again, and she had stars, and then the mummy spotted her. Things were all going wrong, one thing after another. None of this was planned or expected, so she just jumped on the mummy. Yeah, Judy's getting good at attacking mummies. Maybe she'll survive this room after all. Mummy's putting up a good fight, but it lost. Goodbye, Mummy. That's a female mummy too. Now go back and have another look in that sarcophagus, Judy. Just a while ago I saw her when she defeated another mummy. She laughed at it as it turned to dust. I couldn't use that video, the game crashed. There doesn't seem to have been any treasure in that sarcophagus, so she just wasted a bit of time. Okay, now there's another dive well for her to get into. There's usually lots of treasure in these dive wells, but I don't think she's getting much today. It just depends on the game and what has been put into them when you're entering the Sphinx. There's a red mummy now, and looks like it's another female. She's going to the sarcophagus, see if she can find any treasure. You know when she's got treasure because it all goes gold, light comes out of it. But I don't think she's getting much out of the sarcophagus today. Oh no, she's getting something out of that one. Come on, Judy, the mummy's heading towards you. You're waiting for it. You want to fight? Yes, she wants a fight. You never know what the Sims are going to do when they're encountering a mummy. Judy seems to be on top. Mummy's up. Mummy lost. So another mummy that Judy has defeated. That's 2 out of 2 for this tomb so far. There's only one more pool that she needs to jump into because Craig already inspected the purple pool, and there's only one more dark grey pool left. She must be feeling very confident with herself because she's encountered 2 mummies and she's beaten both of them. She must be feeling pretty close to invincible by now, I think. I'll get her to check the last 2 sarcophagus, but this will be the final pool that she jumps into. I'd like to see some of these dive wells on their home property in Dragon Valley. They're good if you've got a deep basement and you want to get them to the surface quickly. Oh, look, the mummy. It's a big one. This is a big male. I wonder if she'll be able to beat it. This could be a bit more than she bargained for. But no trouble walking straight past him, straight to the sarcophagus, see if she can get any gems out of it. I hope she's not feeling tired after having already fought 2 mummies. She actually did get a rainbow gem valued at 1,437 simoleons out of the pool, I think it was. Mummy's coming back towards her. Is she just waiting for it? Does she want to fight this mummy? You'd think she would have run out the door by now, but this bloke's a bit big. He does want her to get to know her better though, so perhaps he thinks having a punch up would help him get to know her better. They're both putting on a good fight. This is going on for quite a while. A lot of punching going on there by the look of it, or wild hitting. Oh, look at that, he just cursed her. That's not nice. He's gone back to his sarcophagus now. At least she's got all the treasure out of it. She might as well get the treasure out of the other one while she's there, and we'll have to work out a way of getting her cured now. I think you can do it with 2 of those sarcophagus of the kings. You need a cursed one and a blessed sarcophagus as well. I don't think you can use the Sphinx twice in one game. We can only get Craig cured twice because I actually have started a new save to get into those 2 tombs under the Nectary because that was broken in the original save. So when they get back to Dragon Valley, we might have a job to get Judy cured. So she's heading off now to wake Craig up. He's asleep still. She can have a sleep in that bed because Craig will be awake and we need him going from now on, and Judy really needs a sleep after getting cursed. She hurried down the corridor towards the door that Craig had gone through previously, not knowing what she was going to find when she got through the door. Fortunately, it was all peace and light, and she just had to have something to eat because she was totally starving. Fortunately, she had enough high-quality food in her inventory to be able to feed herself. I think she had at least 25 pieces of it, plus some medium-quality food, plus some low-quality food. She's been collecting food from tombs for a long time now. She's got heaps. Craig's hungry as well, and he's got some too, but doesn't have any high quality food, but he'll have to make do with medium quality food. Now Judy's got into the bed, Craig's up, and he's going to complete the tomb until he gets cured by the soul piece statue. Craig used one of his star-shaped keystones to open the locked door in that room and got into the next room, which has got lots of traps and lots of pushable statues. The first pushable statue he had to pull quite a distance so that he could get past it because he was blocked by that fire trap. This room's relatively easy to do. You just got to spend a lot of time pushing pushable statues around. There are several solutions, so you don't have to push them exactly the same way that I do, because I probably do them differently every time I play the game. I make it so that they can run straight through here. As you can see, there are piles of ancient coins to be picked up and traps to be disarmed. Just picked up a gem, and there's a hidden door that he's got to find, and a treasure chest as well, and finally he will step on that floor plate. Now we can push that pushable statue all the way down to the wall, and it will put out that electric trap. So that's one trap disarmed. And this other pushable statue he'll push upwards, and he'll disarm the next trap. Now if you can push that to the left and get it out of the way of the other pushable statue that's beside it, you're going to have a row of statues along that wall. Now go into that little room and pick up that pile of ancient coins. And he's got to push that next statue out of the way so he can go and get that other pile of ancient coins. Sometimes he just keeps pushing. Sometimes I say push far and I really just mean push. Right, now there's a statue that he's got to pull out of the way. It'll have to come quite a distance. He's going to have to push it a bit further than that, but anyway, we'll work it out. Remember not to block the path. So he's going to have to pull that back. Now he can pick up that pile of ancient coins, and then he can open that hidden door. And there's a treasure chest full of treasure. It's probably just got a pile of ancient coins, but anyway, he can pick it up. Now it had some uncut gems in there. Pick up the final 3 piles of ancient coins and then into that treasure chest. A broken bowl. And now step on that floor switch. Let's disarm all the traps. Up the steps. We're getting close to the end now. This is right at the back of the Sphinx, as you can see. Got a rubble pile there to smash with his axe. There'll probably be a little gem under that. I find this room's really difficult to go down at Sim's eye level to have a look around, so I'll just stay up here. You can see what he's doing. He's got 2 more rubble piles to get, and there's also a gem on that pedestal in the top right hand corner there. They're all cut gems in here. It's got some good expensive cuts too, like sun and star-shaped and half moons. Now this final rubble pile is just going to get him through that door. And this is actually the exit. Once he steps on that floor plate there, it'll open up a hidden door and you can run straight through it and out of the tomb. There you go, that's the exit. So he doesn't need to go back down there through all that stuff. So that floor plate just reveals a whole lot of electric traps that he can't get anywhere near anyway, and it opens that hidden door. Now he needs to go up those steps. There's 2 rubble piles over there that he can smash with the axe. We can have a bit of a look at what's in those alcoves this time. Another star keystone and a cut gem. The final rubble pile in this room. Cut gem and some food. He might as well eat that while he's here. Through that door. Finally, he gets to the statue, the soul piece statue, where he needs to seek cleansing. So that's what he's doing now. He's going to seek cleansing from the statue. Later on, after they left the tomb, I discovered that Judy, who was cursed by the mummy while they were doing this tomb, she got cleansed as well. I didn't know that would happen. I don't know if it's meant to happen, but when they left the Sphinx after Craig went through this process, he had been cured and he also had the protection of this soul piece statue. Judy had been cured, but she didn't have the protection of the soul piece statue. I was planning other ways to get Judy cured, but I don't have to do that now. Now, at the very end, there is the most lucrative gems to collect in the whole Sphinx. On that pedestal at the end there, he has picked up a soul piece, a cut soul piece gem, which is very valuable. And in this room there's a treasure chest that he needs to use a star keystone to open, and inside that treasure chest is a valuable soul piece, cut soul piece, an opal and a diamond. So that is worth the most of all the things that he's picked up while doing the tomb. So it's well worth keeping the star keystone. He found 3 star keystones, only used 2, so he's still got 1 spare to use later if he needs to. But he won't, because we're going to go home now. And although it's very close to the usual end of the video, I'm going to extend it a bit. I didn't expect us to be doing the Sphinx, that's why it's taken longer than I thought. I had planned to just show him coming into the Sphinx and then getting cured and leave all the middle bit out, until I realised I hadn't shown you through the Sphinx in any of the earlier episodes. So there goes Craig, he's out, and Judy's out as well. Now, as we're leaving Egypt, instead of showing them travelling away, I'll show you another angle of when Craig was pleading to the Sphinx, and we'll see the light show from a different angle. That's just because I've got it and I thought I'd like to show it to you. And after that light show, we will be in Dragon Valley, and they'll be at home with the rest of the household. Now, I know you haven't seen the Dragon Valley house yet because I've been making it while I've been recording this video. Craig and Judy are now heading home, and here they are arriving in Dragon Valley. They've got a brand new house full of household members. That's the house. It's based on a huge square. It's a 64 by 64 lot. And we've tried to pick up all of the gnomes that they had in the original 2 homes in Isla Paradiso. There's basements. There's 3 rooms in the top level basement. One is the general room, and I've tidied that all up a lot more now, but there's still more work to be done. And then I've made a separate room for each of the worlds, and I'm going to have to make them a wine cellar somehow. Now here we are. We've got all 9 parts of the tomb collection for China in the basement room that I made for China, and I'm just going across. If you get a list of all of the different parts of the tomb collection, you can see that they are all there. And a list of all of the tomb collections in each world is available on Carl's Guide if you wanted to have a verification. Now there's 13 parts of the Tomb collection in Egypt. And it's taken a long time to get all of them. Now, in this episode you've just watched, you saw them collecting the piece of the Tomb collection from the Sphinx. Well, they already had that in the game from many episodes back, but I just had never shown you through the Sphinx. I just sent us some sim in there, and they just completed it really quickly because it's not hard to do, and brought the part of the Tomb collection from the Sphinx back home. It's the sigil of the Soul Peace Chambers. And then there's 9 parts of the Tomb collection in France, and the second and the third ones that you're looking at on screen now, from the left to the right, they're the 2 that they've just brought home. All of the others they already had from their previous videos in the Isla Paradiso Bunch playlist 2. Now, those 2 final parts of the Tomb collection that they got from France, they weren't able to be found, the original version of the game, because it broke, got corrupted, there was a bug. So that's why I started a fresh save, and that is why I could go through the Sphinx, because in the original game, the Sphinx was already completed. Now we're going to have a bit of a look of them at home in Dragon Valley. That is Haley's daughter, Wendy. There's a central courtyard which is turned into a common area, a garden. There's all sorts of fun things for children to do. This place is set up much better for children than their previous homes were. But the children got mostly ignored in playlist 1 and 2, although we did see more of them in playlist 1, but there weren't very many children back then. This house has got a flat roof and everybody's heading off to school. So we'll pick them up and when they arrive at the school in Dragon Valley, because the Dragon Valley school building is really interesting to look at, I think. There's a lot of children in the game at the moment, and at this point we've got, I don't know how many children, I'll have to count them, plus 2 toddlers and 2 babies. So Judy has got 6 all up, and one of them is still a toddler, so she must have 5 children. And Haley has got the 2 girls and their children. Now the 2 male Sims, Craig and Sam, were getting abducted by aliens, and they've both got alien children. Sam has one, a little boy called Steve, and he's still a baby, and Craig has 2. A little girl called Penny, and she is a toddler, and a baby boy called Paul. Now, the 2 toddlers are named Donna and Penny. Donna is the oldest one of the 2 toddlers, and so she's reading all of her skill books at the moment. She's done the other toddler skills. She's a clone that Judy made using DNA she got in France from Leah Dutil, and you actually see her being cloned in one of the episodes of the Isla Paradiso Bunch playlist 2. I don't seem to have any video of little Penny as a toddler. She wasn't a toddler for very long, but I do have a little bit of the 2 of them together when they've aged up to child. That is Penny and Donna. And Craig has his baby son in France. He got abducted in France and had his son there. And we had, if you've been watching the series of videos on the Isla Paradiso Bunch, you will have seen all of these children as toddlers and babies. I'm just trying to give you a bit of an overview of what's happened since they came to Dragon Valley. And it's not necessarily in chronological order. I'm just picking up bits and pieces that I have got little bits of video recorded of them. This, of course, is baby Paul aging up to toddler. Paul's mother was invited to his party and she came, but she didn't show any interest in the party until the cake was ready to be eaten. Sometime before Paul aged up, Judy had read a toddler book to her toddler son, Triton King. He only had one toddler book left that he needed to read before he was ready to age up to child, so he had a party as well, not long after he finished this book. Oh, that's somebody's imaginary friend becoming live. They have to become live before they can become real. Once they've become live, you mustn't delete them because they are actual Sims at this point. If you delete a Sim, it just becomes permanently invisible, that it never leaves the game. So you don't actually get rid of it, you just cause your game to become corrupt. This cake is for little Triton King. He's about to become a child. He's there carried by his mother Judy. Of course, Terry is another clone. Judy cloned him from DNA she got from Triton King when they were still living in Isla Paradiso. Again, him being cloned, even Judy taking Triton King's DNA. They're both in earlier videos of the Isla Paradiso bunch. Historically speaking, way back at the beginning when I first started this game, which was a long time before I decided to make a video with it, Judy was the only sim. She was the founding sim for the Isla Paradiso bunch. I just gradually added the others because I didn't like playing a single sim game. So there he goes, he's now turning into a child. I think I'll keep him as a child for quite a while. I'm going to age up Hayley's 2 daughters from child to teen very soon, and also I'll probably age up Judy's daughter Anne and her plant sim son Charlie. They'll become teens soon as well, because I made them way back when university life was first introduced. So I've had them as children for a lot of years and I've never seen them as teens. So once they've got their imaginary friends made real, I will age them all up to teens. What I'm doing with the imaginary friends, I'm turning them real while their owners are still children, so the imaginary friends can get their child skills done. So Anne and Charlie will have to wait until their imaginary friends are real and they've done their child skills. So they won't be children for very long, but that doesn't matter. I could have just waited for Anne and Charlie to age up to teen and then made their imaginary friends real. So the imaginary friends are just getting the opportunity to do their childhood skills. It doesn't take them long to do their cooking and blocks, and they do get quite a boost in their cooking and handiness skills when they age up to teen if they do their cooking and blocks first as children. So everybody's out there enjoying cake. I will fix up Terry's scale colours. He's still got the orange scales that all male toddler mermaids get. The female toddlers get pink scales. I'm not going to give him exactly the same scale colour as Triton King has, but he'll get something similar. Bluish greenish sort of scales on his legs, because he is a little mermaid. I'll also give him new outfits. He's in his sleepwear at the moment. Anne's sitting on the grass doing her homework, and her imaginary friend wanted to come out to play, and we pulled the doll out of her inventory and he became alive. Now she has to make the potion. That could take a while. Of course, until she gets the potion and turns her imaginary friend real, only Anne can see the imaginary friend, and we can only see the imaginary friend when Anne is the active sim. Muriel has already achieved her lifetime wish of Master of the Arts. She's got to level 10 in painting and the guitar skill. She's in the painting career and she's still quite low in that career. So she was level 1 when I opened up this save. I've been getting her to sell her paintings, so she's gradually getting up there. Muriel is the sim I've used as my avatar for this channel. There's Anne working on her child cooking skill in the toy oven. All of the children have to cook on the toy oven to get their child cooking up to level 3 to complete the cooking part of their childhood skills. There's little Jerry coming along. She's going to be a teen shortly. Hayley wanted to learn the bot skill. She had a wish. They had the bot building machine in the same room as they've got their tables for the children to make their potions to make their imaginary friends real. I sent her there to try to make a nanite. That was the easiest thing for her to do, and here she is, trying to get some lifetime happiness points by getting to level 1 in the bot building skill by making herself a nanite. If you've been watching this series, you'll know that Jerry and Wendy made their potions to make their imaginary friends real back in France, and here Jerry is about to offer her imaginary friend the potion to turn it real. And he's just drunk the potion and it's becoming real. This imaginary friend's original name was Pat, and we're going to keep that because it's a pretty good name for a boy. And there he is, little Pat. Jerry floats because she's a genie. And now Wendy's about to give her imaginary friend the potion, and Wendy's imaginary friend is Betty. I think she was Boinky when she was an imaginary friend, but we changed her name to Betty. And as she's an imaginary friend, I've taken her into Create a Sim. I take them all into Create a Sim. I'll just show you a bit about Betty. I didn't move her slider, and when I chose that skin I didn't know what it was, and it made her a pale pink, or is it a pale blue? I can't quite decide. And so I decided I liked that. It's one of the rainbow skins. As you move the slider along, they change colour, and I'll leave the slider where it is and she can be that colour. And she's got the imaginary Sims blue and red hair, and I'll give her a new hairstyle and new outfit. I won't show you the whole process, it'll take too long, but I will show you bits of it. imaginary friends start out as 0 slider sims. All of their sliders on their face are set to 0, so I've changed just about everything about her face, and then I gave her new hair and a new outfit. I take her into Create a Sim to give her a custom skin and change her face, and then when I'm finished with that, I take her into Stylist to give her new hair and clothes, although in this instance I gave her the hair in Create a Sim. Sometimes you get different hairs. You're supposed to get more hair and outfits in Stylist than in Create a Sim, but I've noticed some of the custom hairs are only available in one or the other. They're not available in both, so I prefer to take them into Stylist if I can. Of course, they need to have an outfit for every occasion, so there's everyday, formal, athletic, sleeping, swimming, career and outdoors. I've never seen them in the career outfit. You can have a different hair and different makeup and all sorts of things for most of these outfits. I'll just show you very quickly, cycling through different colours and different things. I'm not going to show you this with all of the imaginary friends made real. I did it for Pat and I didn't show you any of Pat's changes, and I won't show you much about the others either. But now you've got an idea of how I do it, if I decide to do it. I don't always change the imaginary friends. I went through a phase of never changing them, but I've decided for this game that I'll change all of them. Here's Charlie the plant sim and Anne working on their potions. That's Anne's imaginary friend just vanishing out the door. Judy's just standing there at the moment. So Charlie's just made a potion. It's a red potion, so it's a liquid horror potion, which gives the sim a horrified moodlet for 8 hours. It requires a logic level of 3 to be able to make that potion. Judy just had an exciting thought. Wasn't that Charlie made the potion though. She just got excited. Oh look, the imaginary friend. That's Charlie's imaginary friend. He's just become alive. Now Charlie will be able to get him to drink the imaginary friend metamorphism potion when he finally gets to make it. Gain logic skill while they work on these chemistry tables. As Charlie just made a mood enhancer potion. It gives the Sims the brightened day moodlet for 4 hours, and it requires a logic of 1 to make it, so you don't have to know much about logic to get that one. Charlie's having a little celebration with his imaginary friend. The more they chat together, the quicker it will be. He can give the imaginary friend to drink the potion when he finally works out how to make the imaginary friend metamorphism potion. He hasn't got it yet. He needs to be at logic level 8 to get that one. Charlie's got to get back to work and continue learning logic and making potions until he can finally get a potion to make his imaginary friend real. There is another potion that I probably won't wait for them to get, and that is a young again potion. Any sim that's older than young adult can drink the young again potion and go back to the day 1 of the young adult stage. It's really useful if your sim falls madly in love with an elder, or if you've got a sim you just don't want to die of old age. Oh, and just make the radical reparum potion. It gives a sim a high handiness skill for 4 hours, and the sim gets the instant handiness moodlet. Sometimes I like watching what's going on in the central courtyard when we can see through one of those big windows. That is little Wendy playing with basketball hoop. She's about to age up to teen shortly. Wendy and Jerry are twins, born at the same time, but they're not quite identical. And the one on the seesaw in the background is the imaginary friend of Wendy. Her name is Betty. She's got a pale pink skin. Josephine wanted to sculpt something and she chose an ice elephant. Looks like Anne just got singed. They get singed when they're about to discover a potion, but they make a mistake and it blows up instead. And they have to have a shower or they'll die if they get singed again while they're already singed. And I've got magpies flying around outside my window, squealing, if you're wondering what that sound is in the background. So, put Anne back to work. She's got to keep going until she's got that potion. I think she's got a long way to go. Charlie just discovered how to make stink juice potion. It drops the Sims' hygiene level to 0 and gives them the smelly moodlet. And of course, other Sims don't like being around smelly Sims, so they need to go and have a shower. Get rid of that smelly moodlet. This room doesn't have much of a purpose yet. There's toddler Penny reading her toddler skill books, and Muriel's come across and sold that painting. She got over 1,400 simoleons for it. That'll improve her level in the painting career. Penny's working on her toddler skill books just as hard as children are working on discovering new potions. Sometimes they get it fairly quickly, and sometimes they've got to make 8 or 9 potions before they find the one they need, and I think there's only about 9 or 10 potions in total that they can learn. Josephine's accompanied by quite a few little Sims here. There was Pat, and I can see Donna there walking across, and the cat. But she's come in here to sell that ice sculpture before it melts. They might as well get the simoleons for it. Meryl's probably cooking up some nefarious plot. Oh, hello. It looks like that was Bertie or Benji. I'm not sure which one it was. Just got singed. And he's headed to the all-in-one bathroom for a quick shower so he can continue working on his discovery of potions. Oh, bladder flow potion. It reduces a sim's bladder need to 0, so they'll probably wet themselves if they can't get to the bathroom on time. And he got a ghost potion. That makes a sim a ghost who died of old age for 3 hours and gives him a temporarily undead moodlet. Wow, Anne just got the imaginary friend metamorphin potion, which transforms an imaginary friend into a real sim. That means her logic must be at least level 8 by now. And Charlie got singed. He's off to get a shower. Now Anne has to work with her imaginary friend to get them to be best friends before the imaginary friend will take the potion and drink it. Sometimes that can take a really long time, but Anne's been spending a lot of time with her imaginary friend and it hasn't taken her very long at all. Finally, Anne offers the potion and the imaginary friend takes it and drinks it, and she's now transforming into a real sim. There it is, she's done it. Now we've got to take her into Create a Sim and give her an upgrade. Firstly, I give her the same skin as I gave to Betty. Then I think, no, she belongs to a different family. She's one of Judy's family, and Judy's got the freckled version of Starfruit. And so I gave that to Ruth. I called her Ruth because she was Rags as an imaginary sim. I thought of a name beginning with R and I came up with Ruth. And she's got the reddish hair because she's got to blend in with Judy's family, although Judy and Anne have got a paler red hair. So I'll show you the completed Ruth instead of showing you all the whole process of making her. Hang on, this is supposed to be about Ruth. What are Donna and Penny doing walking across in front of her? And Ruth decided she might be missing out on a bit of fun if she stayed inside, so she headed out there too. And she found a ride and she decided that she really wanted to go for a ride, so we might as well watch her have a little bit of fun. It turns out that Ruth is the final imaginary sim that's going to be made real in this household before I break it up. It's just getting impossible to play. I have to save every time I do something important and then it crashes on me. I haven't had any error 12s yet, but I've had a lot of having to reload. Ah, there goes Charlie the plant sim. I thought that Ruth wasn't smiling enough, so I took her back into Create a Sim and made it a bit easier for her to smile. 4 of the children were indoors working on their block skill. Pat and Betty are about to age up to teen, and Anne's ready to age up as well. And Terry won't age up for a while, but he might as well do his blocks now. All 4 of them will have completed all their childhood skills once they get to level 3 in blocks. Because she was a clone and not an imaginary friend, Donna just gets new hair and a whole new wardrobe. I might have given her a custom skin as well, but it would have been a skin that didn't change the colour of her skin at all. I've kept her as close as possible to her original self. Very quick look at her getting her wardrobe fixed. Because I've got so many mermaids in this save, and even one of them, little Terry, is a member of the household, I decided to make them a dive lot, and the game generated a new mermaid to visit them while they were diving. I found that the underwater in this world is very dark and murky. You've got to get very close to what you want to look at to be able to see it. But there's plenty of fish spawning and seashells and bottles and things for them to collect. Whenever I build a new dive lot, I have to refer to the instructions from my video on how to build a dive lot because I can never remember, and it's all step by step, easy to follow. So that's what I do. Follow the steps in the tutorial. It's up on my channel. Lots of people watch it. It's had thousands of views. I was really surprised. We can't complete a Isla Paradiso bunch video without seeing one of Diana's performances. She was invited to perform at the coffee house, so she turned up and here she is. We'll just watch a little bit of her performance. She's up to level 8 now in the magician career. On a few other nights, she was invited to perform at Mixmaster Karaoke, and that's where she is on this particular evening. And she's using her box of mystery, where she's doing a few tricks with volunteers from the audience. She will either make the sim disappear and then reappear, or she will stick swords into them and then let them come out of the box unharmed. She continues on with the show and the audience thoroughly enjoys it, and at the end of the night she takes her bows and goes home. There she is taking her bows, getting her money for the performance, and then it's lights out. There were several more birthdays, but I'll just show you a glimpse of Wendy and then Jerry as they aged up to teens. I wasn't able to age up Pat or Betty. They need to age up with their previous owners, so that won't happen until after I've split the household up. So we won't see them aging up in this video at least. And let me know in the comments if you want me to do a third playlist, which will be all about the different households that come out of this one big household that we've got at the moment and how they grow up and live. It could possibly even turn into some sort of an interactive thing where you can leave comments to indicate which part of the household you'd like to play with in the next episode and the type of things you'd like to see those characters achieve in the next episode. It's something to think about, but let me know in the comments. The next video I make at the moment, though, will be in a different series. But we have to decide what we want to do with this lot. Do we abandon them altogether, or do we continue on in some other fashion? If we continue on, if each household will be in separate worlds, they'll still be able to interact with each other, but they won't be all living in the same world. That way we can control totally what each household does, and the rest of them will be not changing. Well, we're not playing them. Discovered that Sam was still in the lifeguard career. He's at level 10. I discovered also that things can get a bit exciting when they're at level 10. I sent Jeannie to explore a secluded beach that's near their house. I just wanted to find out how she could get there, and I've watched where she went, up over the mountain and down the other side basically. And when she was there, that's when I got the inspiration to build the dive lot, and it's just near this little beach. So thank you for watching. There's still lots to explore in Dragon Valley. It's a beautiful world, but we've got to end it here. It's been going for quite a while, this video. I do hope you've enjoyed it, and have a think about whether you'd like to continue with the story with a third playlist, and if so, let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you have enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then it might be an idea to subscribe if you're interested in seeing any future videos, especially if you want to leave a comment making suggestions about the future of this series. So I'd prefer the suggestions to come from subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed and you're interested in continuing with this, please subscribe. And that is it. Bye bye for now, and happy simming.